Welcome everybody. Got a couple of add-ons I'm going to demo out real quick. Got the Gobo Light Shader. It's Gobo Creator 2. I pulled this from LM Studio 6 and just did a few upgrades, cleaned it up, made it smaller. So we'll go right to it. So just click Gobo Light Shader and you'll have a light come in, spotlight. It's already going to have a node group on there. So if we go to the shader editor, you'll see that you've already got a setup to put the image texture on the light. Very easy to do, and I'm gonna hit Alt R and just drop that rotation down. And of course, you got to do this in cycles. Make sure scene lights and scene world are on. World, turn everything off. Now on the interface here, the UI, you can just turn the light up. You have a black body intensity set to 1500, which is like a match flame. You want it to look like a noonday sky. Put in like 7,000. Looks nice. You've got a custom Gobo uploader here. So if you've got some image files, PNG, JPEG, doesn't matter, plug those in right here. That would be default closed, and you'll have an exposure value in here you can play with as well. And then down here you can choose between windows, abstract trees, and branches. Hit recycle, and then you'll have all this stuff pop up. Now, the upgrade is that it runs a little smoother. I found some bugs, got them out of there, and it's cleaned up. And then the other upgrade is that you can now switch this to a square, and it is perfectly square. If you want to project something, you can definitely do that. And if you feel like you want to take the scale and kind of change that so it's maybe looking a little bit more like a movie screen or something because you have a video or something, then you can do that real easy. And I did have these values up here, but it's really simple to go grab those, so I didn't bother. And so anytime you hit this, you can reset it square, or you can go back to a circle. I'm gonna go to abstract where you can see this a little bit better. Hit the recycle button or refresh. And if I go here, I've got a circular pattern, works very nice. If I click square, it doesn't look so nice because that picture is now out of frame. However, if you do have something like this, which is a square image, and you click square, it's going to project perfectly and you won't have to do anything with it. Now you can also change these around, or if you're on another light and you want to project something through it, you can, or you can just change it because you don't want to use it that way anymore. Whatever you want to do. And then don't forget your black body temperature here. You can definitely change that. And then you've got couple more things going on here. You've got the windows, which now that you have the square feature on here, the windows will work a lot better. I'm going to add a ton more stuff in here, a lot more of the windows, and so now the windows will come up perfectly. And if you do want that to for some reason come up circular, it's not necessarily going to work. Anyways, they're all just a little bit different, so that's no big deal. Some of them have bigger borders. You won't see that necessarily, so that's kind of what's going on there. You don't have the borders. Let's see if I can choose one that doesn't have that. There we go. And you'll notice that the colors do come through. It's pretty nice. Not everything. Everything's going to be a little bit different, so it's just going to be how the image looks. You'll get some varying results. And of course, then if you did have an image, you can come right here, and let's just say I've got a JPEG in here somewhere. I've got to have one. Switch icon names. Boom. That's the Serpents 3 visual scripting logo right there. And so I just loaded that through the custom Gobo loader. All right, now we're going to switch over to the other add-on that I've got. And I just installed that one. That's SimTrails 1.1. This one's an upgrade. So we come down here, we'll see SimTrails, and I can now bring this back. Let's just delete that out of there. All right, you don't have to plug anything in to start, actually, so we could delete all that. You just click add simulation, and it's going to be asking for some targets. So we don't have any targets preset because you never know what somebody's going to want. So just watch. This is very, very quick. I'm just going to pick a UV sphere, apply the scale. I can leave that there. I'm going to dupe that and bring one of these up. Now I'm going to hit M and just make a collection for this. Doesn't matter what. And I want to grab my plane, which was my object. And I'm going to grab collection 1. And now I'm kind of instancing these out for the simulation. So now, timeline, you can just hit play and you instantly have a simulation. It's kind of boring, not really doing anything. So the attraction object, grab the teardropper, we could choose this. And with whatever the settings are here, you're going to get some type of result. And it will try to follow the target object according to the settings. And so these can be really wonky and it's kind of hard to figure out. So what I did is I put a category in here. One is slow motion, which isn't necessarily that slow. There we go. And so it's a slow motion setup here. And if we go over into the Eevee engine and do scene lights and scene world, it already comes with a shader built in. And so the slow motion one works pretty nice. You can come over here and click the spiral galaxy and it's going to rearrange everything into a spiral. And then you can kind of play around with the settings therein. And the count is pretty important. You could bring the count up considerably if you wish. And I don't know how this is going to react for you when you start messing around with all the settings, but you have presets you can jump back to. Now, increasing your velocity after selecting the spiral will cause the spiral to actually start to form, which is really cool. And so if you just give that a minute, all the stuff there is deleting so it doesn't crap out the viewport and crash you. There's an age, and it's 146.730 frames. I probably should have made that an integer, but it doesn't really matter. So as long as you are putting this to something reasonable, then you won't crash out Blender. And the count can be anything you want. I would keep it around 50, probably be pretty good. And let's see, I've got the attraction object as sphere 002. So if I grab sphere, you'll see that this really isn't going to affect too much with the target object on this one. It's set up differently, and this is direct access to the vector math node right here, so you can change all of this and the behavior on the fly. Let me kind of switch through here. You can get a straight line, and so it'll attempt to make a straight line to the target object. You can also play around with a spawning point, and my favorite two are the spiral and the slow motion. The other ones are kind of a little wonky. They're almost similar, but you can play around with the settings and kind of do whatever you want. And just don't forget, you can change the actual behavior here. You can change the age, the decay speed, and it's going to give you a lot of different results. Some will slow down the viewport, some will not. And so if you bring the decay speed back to like 0.04-ish, and you get that effect. And then the velocity and the attraction, it'll kind of implode on itself, but it gives you a lot of cool options. You do have a material down here preset, and you can add a new material, do whatever you want, do some kind of random setup and add, you know, some different colors or something. Just know that simulations are still somewhat experimental in Blender, and you will probably get some wonky results, but the add-on overall is stable. So if I come back over here and I want to switch this, you get direct access. You don't have to go back in to the geometry nodes for much, and just make this an emission. And it does come with an emission already on it, so you don't necessarily have to do anything. You can change the colors around. And if you know how to do anything with shading, you can mix this up pretty nice. And if you're getting weird results, all you have to do is remove the attraction object from time to time, go back and forth. If you have multiple instances, like in the collection, click pick instance, it'll just be on by default. And that's about it. I appreciate you guys watching. These two add-ons are going to be on my Patreon only, and that's just for my patrons. I do have a couple of really nice free add-ons you can go pick up on the Blender Market. And over here on the Blender Market under Mr. Steve 3D, you'll see a few that I have here. You can actually pick up the basic version of the Cracks add-on free. You can come over and get Good Parenting absolutely free. I've got Light Magic Studio. There's a basic version there that is free as well. I don't know why it's showing up $1, but it is free on the basic version. And if you want to pick up this add-on, this is going to be over on my Patron, and all levels will be able to pick up the Gobo Creator 2, and the Sim Trails will be on the second and third tier. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you in the next tutorial.